Good morning. Today we're going to look at Psalms 4, 5, and 6. And um, each of these Psalms in my Bible has a little header above it. Psalm 4 says, "To the leader with stringed instruments," a Psalm of David. Psalm 5, "To the leader for the flutes," or in another Bible I have it said, "the pipes." And when it said pipes, the first thing that came to my mind, bagpipes. Well, I don't think they had bagpipes in Jerusalem or in Israel, back then. And, they're kind of a Scottish thing. So when you see what it says for the flutes, that makes a lot more sense than that. And then in Psalm 6, it says again, "To the leader with stringed instruments, according to the Sheminith," whatever that is, a Psalm of David. So all three of these Psalms are attributed to King David. Psalm 4, it starts out, "Answer me when I call, O God of my right. You give me the room when I was in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my my prayer." And the people have been telling lies, stirring up untruths about David. He says, "How long, you people, shall my honor suffer shame? How long will you love vain worlds and seek after lies?" So, it doesn't tell us who's stirring trouble up. And then verse 4, "When you are angry, when you are disturbed, do not let sin, or do not sin. Ponder it on your beds. Be silent, offer sacrifices, come to the Lord, and become righteous again." So it's a prayer saying that, people are stirring things up against me. They're telling untruths about me. There's trouble in my kingdom, and yet I know that, it's unfounded. And when it comes to God, and there are many who say, "Oh, that we might see some good. Let the light of your face shine. You put gladness in my heart." And so it's a prayer of healing, of forgiveness, of offering the sacrifice to God, and then having that proper relationship. The last verse, "I will lie down and sleep in peace, for you alone make me lie down in safety." And so we're taught as children to say our bedtime prayers. I mean, most of us have been anyway, and I don't know how if every household does that anymore or not. But when we end our day and begin our day with prayer, coming to God, saying what's on our mind, lifting people up that we care about, that need healing in whatever way, or prayers of thanks, and we end our day with prayer and just leaving things in God's hand for the night. And to me, it's a very freeing. It just kind of helps so that those things don't just keep going through my head. In Psalm 5, give ear to my words, crying out, "God, hear me. Lord, hear my prayer." And then verse 4, "You are not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil will not sojourn with you." And that word sojourn, I used to think, well, sojourn, that journey, that's when you're traveling. Well, no, the word sojourn means to stay. That's when you're on a trip and you sojourn for the night, you get a bed to sleep in, a motel room or whatever. And so, evil will not stay with you. Evil will not be a part of who you are, so evil doesn't have a place with God. "The boastful won't stand before your eyes. You hate evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies." So again, David is acknowledging the rightness of God, that God doesn't, that wickedness and bad things don't come from God. "I, through the abundance of your love, will enter your house. I will bow down in your holy temple." And then verse 9, "There is no truth in their mouths. Their hearts are destructive. Their throats are open graves." They're telling lies and untruths and spreading rumors or whatever it may be. And then verse 10, "Let them bear their guilt, let them get their just reward." He is going to get what's coming to him, karma. So this is David's prayer, is for these that are telling the lies and stirring up the trouble, and let them get their just reward. Let karma come into play, and And, you know, because of their transgressions, cast them out, for they have rebelled against you. You know, they deserve punishment, Lord God, and see that and dish that punishment out. And then verse 11 again, a prayer. But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, so that those who love you may exalt your name. You know, and for you bless them, for you bless the righteous and cover them with favor as a shield. So again, that idea that those who are faithful to God will receive extra blessings. And we like to think that, but you know, but God isn't holding things back or giving extras. I don't believe that. You know, it's just, I mean, God comes to us with righteousness and forgiveness and judgment, and the best thing is that he judges us as guilty, but freed in Jesus Christ. I mean, that's where we come from. And so that's, we can take refuge and rejoice in the fact that God has provided for our salvation. Psalm 6, a cry of prayer again. O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me with your wrath. Heal me, for my bones are shaking with terror. My soul is struck. Well, you know, how long? So something's going on, you know, that David feels he has sinned. This isn't, you know, there's another psalm that he wrote, you know, after he's being caught with Bathsheba, but so this isn't that one, but it's one that, you know, it's a prayer for a severe illness, a prayer for something that's, and just as they thought that blessings were from the Lord, as we ended with the last psalm, sometimes they thought that the sicknesses or problems were from the Lord. So, you know, but it's a prayer of healing from of sickness. O Lord, save my life. Deliver me for the sake of your steadfast love. For there is no remembrance of you. In Sheol, who can give you praise? And this Sheol, and we see that word often in the Bible. We saw it back in, you know, in Genesis chapter 37, chapter 37, verse 35. Joseph says, "No, I shall go down to Sheol, my son, mourning." Thus his father bewailed him. You know, it's just, you know, Jacob has been told of his son, you know, he's going to go down to Sheol. And in the book of Job, we read not so long ago in chapter 3, you know, they're prisoners at ease together. Their hearts hear the voice. The small and the great are there, talking about this Sheol, this place of death. And Psalm 88 has a good definition, or it talks about it, you know, and I'll just read part of it. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. And the pit is capitalized, P-I-T, just like Sheol is usually capitalized as a, you know, to identify it as a place. I go down to the pit. I'm like those who have no help, like those who are forsaken among the dead, the slain live in their grave, like those whom you remember from no more. They're cut off from your account. You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me. So it's, you know, the Sheol is, it's not really hell, but it's the place of the dead where you're kind of a shadowy figure. And it's partly, I think, where the Roman Catholic Church comes with the image of purgatory. You know, it's a place of the dead where you're not, you know, you haven't got your final reward yet, whether you're in heaven or hell, but it's just a place you don't want to be. And sometimes we can put ourselves in that position of feeling separated from God and in a place where there is no help. You know, he says, I'm weary with my mourning. I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with weeping. My eyes waste because of my grief. And, you know, and he's really struggling. He's deep down hurt and depressed. And he's crying out to God and asking for God's grace and God's healing. And it's, And many of the Psalms are, I mean, there are many lament Psalms, or prayers, Psalms of prayers for healing, Psalms of blessing, and as we read through these Psalms, we will just continue to run into these very similar images, and it's just a reminder for us that, life, for King David, I mean, had its ups and downs, just like our life has its ups and downs today as well.